Hello everyone, this is me Bandana and this is our second season of Inside Out. It's a talk show, mental health talk show where we talk about mental health issues and so we have Sudarshini with us. She gonna share her experience with psychology as a subject as she was one of the student of psychology and study.
Okay, so like I did my bachelor's in psychology and I just graduated 6 months back. My college was in Mumbai, so now I'm back to Calcutta. And currently, right now, I'm working at my dad's office. So, however, I'm planning to do my master's next year. So, let's see how that goes.
Great. You wanna do your masters in psychology itself?
Yeah, so initially I was planning to do like my master's in something else, but like over the course, like again, I got that time of 6 months, right, to kind of be sure as to what I want to do. So that is how I've come up with like I want to get into consumer psychology and fashion marketing.
Okay, thank you for putting this out that there are branches of psychology too. There's nothing like just clinical or counseling itself, right? So thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Can you please explain that field, what you think about that fashion thing and the thing you were talking about, like consumer?
yeah. So right. So again, like as you said, that people, when it comes to psychology, people have very restrictive mindset. Okay, she might be doing clinical or industrial or counseling. But everyone, there are a lot of different options that you can get into. What I am more interested is in consumer marketing, which is like kind of similar to marketing. However, it's also kind of involving psychological tricks as to like let's for example, let's say you want to put out a product out there, okay, or you want to market a brand.
Mhm.
So what are the psychological tricks or like tips that you would play to which people would like pursue your particular product or like your brand? So that is something that is really intriguing to me, and it is also like very fun and fascinating. And apart from that, like fashion psychology is basically, understanding the signs of colors, the style, the texture. So even in the fashion world, the psychology is used intensively. So that way, like for example, even in luxury marketing or luxury products, we see that how is it that a particular brand, which is like, their product might be very normal, है ना, but still वो tag के वजह से or the way they're advertising it, people are like still hell bent on paying so much and buying that product. So it's mainly how you kind of convince people and what like message are you trying to convey to people to kind of benefit out of it. So that is something that I'm very much interested in pursuing further.
Like putting light on it, like there's a psychology as well as in the leading consumer thing, as well as in
Yeah,
fashion. So it is interesting and it's gonna trending right now. People are
yeah.
advertising a lot about it. So what are the challenges you faced as a psychology student?
When I was studying psychology, I have like studied psychology as a whole subject. It was not a particular thing where, I have majored in. It's like psychology as a whole. So one thing that I would like to like, tell everyone that it's a very theory heavy based subject and it has a lot of theoretical models. One of the major challenges that I face, I don't know about how they teach in abroad, but in India, they do believe in the traditional method of teaching, that is by textbooks. And that was somewhat kind of taking a toll on me because okay, studying from textbook is one thing, but again psychology is a subject where you can't rote learn, you have to understand, right? You have to understand a lot of things because there are various minute principles that go behind it, and everything you can just not rote learn and just get away with it. So like I did have internships and this and that field work and all of that, but I believe if we can include that more in the teaching system, that would be more beneficial. So like more of like active classes and less of textbook reading would be good. It won't hurt anyone.
Definitely, definitely. Like it's all application based rather than just a theory thing because people mind is dynamic, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
like it was easy for your like for you convincing your parents to get into psychology, because we have this statement na psychology is a pagal wala thing. So what are your take on it?
Right. So, honestly, I was not very sure that I would take up psychology since childhood. I was more intrigued towards science. So
Hmm.
I had to, like, I wanted to pursue science as a subject ahead. But due to certain circumstances, I did not end up getting science, like pure science in 11, 12. But again, that love and passion for science in me did not allow me to leave it completely.
Hmm.
And as we all know, psychology is like a mixture of art and science. And again, understanding the human mind was something like I'm a very curious person. So I want to know. So that is how I took up the chance. And after like 3 years of studying it, and mind it, I've cried also while studying. And I've also doubted myself why I've taken the subject. But today I can say that I don't regret studying it
Hmm.
at all. So
Like
yeah.
it is somewhat courageous to say it that loud, that in that process of learning psychology, you even break down.
Yeah.
It's just not a subject, but it's something else even. So, what are your like, what do you think as a personal growth and related to psychology, as in you took psychology somewhere or else, it made you understand yourself much better, I guess, in this process.
Yeah, definitely. So, like earlier, I believe that I used to have a very restrictive mindset where I used to feel, okay, no, what I am saying or what I'm thinking is only correct and the other person is wrong. But once you're into psychology and you understand when you're studying, and it happens over a period of time. It's not overnight that you would understand. But then that mechanism in your brain changes. Like for me now, it's like it has broadened my perspective. It is not like, okay, there can be only one right versus wrong. It can also be that, okay, from my perspective, I might be right, but the other person is not wrong. What they are trying to convey is also correct.
Exactly.
So I think it has helped me, be more patient, understand things from a wider perspective and at a broader range, which I believe is a good thing. So, yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Like you literally put it out that being patient and seeing different perspective is also something very important as an individual too. So, like, is it like something which made you shift a career as well after taking psychology in your bachelor?
So not really. Actually, like while I was studying psychology, I was more interested towards the clinical field of it. But again, that is when I realized that, loving a certain field is one thing, but practicing it on a daily basis is another. And over the time only, I, kind of developed my interest towards marketing and fashion. And as we all know, psychology can be applied everywhere. So it was not such a tough decision. I believe I made the right choice by not getting into clinical, because I know that, personally for me, I wouldn't have taken that at a longer run.
Yeah.
So I don't regret my choice.
I guess getting into psychology somewhere people have only two perspective, as I already stated, counseling and clinical thing. And being
Yeah.
have this fantasy of getting into science, we all want
Hmm.
to get into clinical. And
Yeah.
it's like having a right perspective so that we can just shift our thought process what exactly we want and what we fit in. So that I guess you literally like you made this a point that you fit in somewhere, and that like you somewhere segregated your desire and you fit in thing. So what advice you gonna give to psychology experience as in general?
Honestly, I think I'm too young to say this, but anyone who's pursuing or want to pursue this on a bachelor level, or you've taken up psychology in your school and are planning to do that ahead, I would say that you have to be extremely curious. Like your mind has to be very, like you should have a lot of curiosity in you, It's not a thing that overnight, oh, I've taken psychology, now I will do my master's, then I'll do a PhD or an MPhil and become a doctor or a psychologist. Does not work that way, because it's a very heavy subject. You have to understand that is a reality. It's not an easy going or an easy flowing subject. Plus, there are a lot of scientific theories behind it, and there's a lot of, like like the humanities perspective to it as well. So
Mm-hmm.
you are supposed to, like, kind of, you should be able to balance it. But apart from curiosity, I feel that you should also have the quality of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, feeling that okay, if someone else is going through something, that means maybe for you that is not the problem, or it might be like, over exaggerating to you. But you should always have that quality, no, okay, if someone is feeling this is valid, and you should have that quality to, kind of empathize with that person. And
Definitely.
thirdly, I would like to say resilience. Like, let's say we hear a lot of disturbing stories or something that has happened, or we read about trauma, right? And if we get into it, then that will take a toll on us. So,
Mm-hmm.
the quality to be able to step back out of it is something that you should have.
Definitely. Definitely. So, what is the one change you want to bring, like, as in related to psychology as a field?
Honestly, I would just like to say, like, a little less of textbook learning would never hurt anyone, and more of internships and a lot of field work is something that I believe that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, we need the real life, like, experience to actually understand the subject. Because once you've, like, kind of, you've learned it on a theory basis, and you know the theories and everything, but if you can't practically apply it in a real life situation, it would put you in a tough spot. So kind of, making the classes more engaging, like activity based classes, like, for example, like in my college, like one of the classes where it was like groups were made and we were supposed to perform a drama, where like in counseling we were supposed to, counsel each other. So something like that, kind of becomes very fun also. And you also know that okay, maybe this is how I can handle it, or this is how I can, like go ahead with it. So yeah.
And if I say, what is the one myth, what people think about psychology, according?
Well, about psychology, like, I would just want to put this out, is that whenever like I say that okay, I'm pursuing psychology or I've pursued this, I think everyone would agree to it, that the majority of the crowd would come and tell you, please read my mind.
Exactly, exactly.
Right? Guys, we do not have magical powers. Psychology is a science behind understanding a human behavior, and there goes a lot of hard work and patience to do that. We literally do not have magical powers. So please don't come and ask us that, okay, please read our mind.
Definitely. This is the truth. I guess every student went through this question, I guess. So, in CA,
Yeah.
what is one memorable moment for you related to psychology, like pursuing it while you were pursuing it?
Okay, so this is like very fun. I feel that a lot of people would be able to relate to it. It's like not bad, but it's not even good. It's like fun on a different level. First 2 years I did not have practicals. Third year I had practicals, and I absolutely hated it from the core of my heart.
Okay.
And I was a person who was like not the studious kind or the nice or the teacher's pet. I was always like, up in their eyes, and like they always thought that I've troubled them the most. But somewhere down the line, even they have picked on me a lot of times.
Mhm.
So the thing with me was I always used to do my practicals last minute. And those teachers used to make me redo those every time. Every time. And believe me or not, I was the only like child. Like there were like 120 students, and among them it was only me who's done the practicals 8 times and given the viva 8 times. Whereas in general, there are only 2 rounds. And I believe that when I had my final exam, that is when the teach and believe it, the teachers have taunted me to a different level.
Okay.
Okay. But last minute, I was very anxious. But that is when the one of my teachers who always used to pick on me, she came and she held my hand and she said, "Don't worry, you've got this." And I don't know why, but and in that very moment, I felt very calm. And
Mm.
here I am. I've graduated with a good degree, with a good CGPA, and I feel that probably sort of that taunting moment, and then again getting through it after like so many taunts is something that's very memorable for me.
Yeah, it's like all bittersweet moment that make something very
Yeah,
sweet. It is somewhat very like thank you for putting some things which people are not aware about. I would really say this out that consumer psychology and fashion psychology people weren't aware about. Thank you putting
yeah,
that
right.
out. And I will appreciate that the 3 points which you put it out, that resilience and empathy thing, I guess people need to understand that patience is also a thing which make people and individual different from others. And if they are
Yeah,
pursuing psychology, these 3 things will definitely help them out. So yeah,
yeah.
thank you Sudarshini for coming up and sharing your thoughts on it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I hope that I could make some difference.
Definitely, definitely.